Spider-Man 3 is kind of a disappointing movie, but even though this is my least favorite movie, I still like it. It's not horrendous. The movie features really good aspects. Most of the characters from previous movies carried out their charm. I still like Aunt May in this movie, I still like Harry Osborn, I still like Jonah Jameson. Mr. Djokovic continues to be funny, Bruce Campbell continues to impress me. The movie still has good action. I really like the first fight in the movie between Peter and Harry. It was so intense my heart was racing even though I've watched this movie so many times. A part of me wishes Harry had died in that fight scene. You'll understand later in this review. I like Flint Marko in this movie, not completely, but I do. Spoiler alert, those scenes where Peter finds out Flint killed Uncle Ben and fights him and are engage him. Peter's rage was the star of those scenes. I also love that scene at the end when Peter forgives Flint. It was a mature, important, and satisfying moment for both the characters. Harry Osborn also shines in this movie, although I really wish they'd removed the memory loss things. It served absolutely nothing to any of the characters, it just stole the spotlight of another villain here that deserved more attention than what he had. Harry's best moments are when he completely remembers everything. My favorite moments are when he teams up with Peter to save MJ and when he died. Another good aspect about this movie is that it benefits people who watched the previous Spider-Man movies with continuity-based moments. The music was great. This is probably the best scored movie out of all the Spider-Man movies, even though most of the score was either recycled or reimagined. I should also give a shout out to Mary Jane. Not that she was amazing in this movie, but she feels more like a character in this movie than in the previous movies. And for the first time, I was on her side and not on Peter's side. Okay, I guess I should probably start talking about the bugs in this movie. The first thing that baffles me is that Peter and MJ are dating and Peter still has his job apparently. Either they are dating in secret or Jonah found a place in his so-called heart to forgive Peter. About their relationship, it's frustrating. When MJ received a bad review from a critic, Peter starts forcing her to smile by immediately saying that she should get back on the horse and not actually understanding what MJ's feeling. I hate that. But it's not like MJ actually helped anyway. She didn't tell Peter she got fired and now she's expecting Peter to guess what she's feeling. However, in this movie I'm siding with Mary Jane. Peter was a douchebag in this movie. Starting with the kiss she gave to Gwen. You know, I've watched this since I was a kid and I still don't understand why Peter kissed Gwen. Did he just forget that he had a girlfriend? You know what's the worst part? Peter has no clue what he did wrong. Mary Jane was expressing how sad she was that Peter kissed Gwen. It was almost comical how he was unaware of what he did wrong.
Kissed her. Who was kissing her? Spider-Man or Peter?
What do you mean?
But my least favorite Peter moment of this movie was when he turned into emo Peter. Now, I haven't read the Spider-Man comic books that much, so I'm not an expert on the symbiote. But from what I can tell based on the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series, when you get attached to the symbiote, it boosts your physical abilities and it makes you embrace your darkest emotions, especially the ones associated with anger. It seemed like the case when Peter was first attached to the symbiote, but then later in the movie when he wore the black suit again, he became this. How does embracing your anger turn you into a womanizing dancing asshole? What's funny is that I actually used to like emo Peter as a kid. Now I despise him. I hate those scenes when all he does is dancing, especially in the jazz club. Those scenes only kept us from watching what could have been a dark and cool storyline. Now let's talk about the villains. Harry, I've already talked about him. Flint Marko was a good character, but he was a little forced. His origin was stupid. He only became the Sandman because an employee was too lazy to check the containment field. He assumed it was a bird breaching it. Even if it was a bird, imagine what would have happened if the bird didn't fly away in time. He would have probably had an even bigger problem. Flint's storyline about killing Uncle Ben was also forced. The police had knowledge of an alternative suspect of the murder of Uncle Ben for 5 years, and they didn't notify Peter nor Aunt May, not even when Flint confessed that he killed Uncle Ben. One could say it's the police being irresponsible, I say it's mediocre writing. However, Venom was even worse. First of all, I don't like Eddie Brock Jr. He's really annoying. It's like he was written in a way for the viewers to hate him, which I guess it's fine, but it's a step backwards. What we came from having likable villains in the previous movie to having an irritating one. But the worst part about him was the screen time we had with him. We had like 10 minutes of screen time with him, and we had to wait until the very end? I barely remember seeing him fight. It's really disappointing. Venom is one of the fiercest villains Spider-Man has ever encountered, and he was just wasted. On a side note, another character that was wasted was Gwen Stacy, who was even more of a woman's plot device than Mary Jane. Did you know that she's not very smart in this movie? Apparently, science is not her strong suit. Science is not her strong suit. And do you know what she does for a living? Modeling. Modeling! But getting back to the villains, I also thought Venom teaming up with the Sandman was too quick. So we just have to assume Venom suddenly knows everything about Flint Marko? Which reminds me, this movie has some really dumb moments. I've mentioned Sandman's origin, but what about that time a police tried to kill an escaped convict? There's another scene where Mary Jane breaks up with Peter to protect him from Harry, instead of just telling him that Harry wanted to kill him. There's another scene where Bernard reveals that he knew for probably 5 years that Norman Osborn was more likely not murdered by Spider-Man but by himself. There's even another scene where Eddie goes to the church and asks God to take away Peter's life.
To ask you for one thing. I want you to kill Peter Parker.
Eddie, I don't think that's what Peter meant when he told you to get religion. Wait, is Peter naked in a church? Where are all these things coming from? So as you can tell, this movie has major story problems. Ones that are too hard to ignore. Spider-Man 3 probably has just as much flaws as the previous movies, but these flaws are intolerable. I guess that's what happened when you put 3 different villains in the same movie. So yeah, these were the reviews of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. This is one of my favorite trilogies. I love Spider-Man, and these are great movies for Spider-Man fans. I highly recommend these movies. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye for now.